The prison clock was loud enough to drown out thought. Each second landed like a hammer, measured and unforgiving. Daniel Okoye stood in the narrow hallway outside the execution chamber, hands cuffed, ankles heavy with chains. 17 years of his life had led him to this corridor. 17 years of saying the same sentence to anyone who would listen. I did not do it. At 5:58 p.m., a guard adjusted his cap and avoided Daniel's eyes. The warden read through a folder he had already memorized. The walls smelled of disinfectant and finality. When the warden finally spoke, his voice was almost gentle. Daniel looked up. His face carried the weight of years spent behind bars, wrinkles earned too early, eyes dulled by disappointment rather than guilt. I only ask that the truth arrives, he said quietly. Even if it's too late for me. Years earlier, Daniel had been a mechanic, known more for his silence than for any trouble. On the night a powerful businessman was murdered, Daniel had been repairing a broken car behind his workshop. Sirens arrived before he even understood what was happening. A knife was found near him. A witness claimed they saw him running. The police needed a quick answer, and Daniel fit neatly into their story. The trial was fast and cold. His lawyer barely spoke. Evidence that could have saved him was labeled irrelevant. When the judge declared him guilty, the gavel struck like a door being shut forever. Daniel remembered the sound more clearly than his own mother's voice. His mother died while he was inside, and the letter informing him arrived months late. Appeals were filed and dismissed without explanation. Cellmates mocked his belief in justice until some of them vanished into freedom and others into graves. Daniel aged in fragments, counting years by scratches on concrete walls. Every night, he wrote in an old notebook, recording memories so they wouldn't disappear the way the world seemed to have forgotten him. 15 years into his sentence, a young legal intern named Amara Bello was assigned to digitize old court files. Daniel's case felt ordinary until she noticed a single line buried in the evidence log, a security camera recording from a nearby building. The tape had been submitted but never played in court. There was no explanation. Curious, she found the tape in storage and played it. The footage was grainy but clear enough to show a man leaving the crime scene, limping slightly, wearing a distinctive ring. Daniel never limped, he never owned a ring. Her heart pounded as she realized what she was seeing. Amara brought the discovery to her superiors. They hesitated. Reopening the case would expose failures too large to hide. The execution date had already been scheduled. Time was not on Daniel's side. Refusing to let it go, Amara leaked the information to the press. The story spread faster than anyone expected. Protests formed outside the prison. Lawyers demanded emergency hearings. The prosecution scrambled to defend a conviction built on silence and shortcuts. Still, the court moved at its usual pace, slow and indifferent. Now back in the present, Daniel lay strapped to the execution bed. The needle hovered inches from his arm. His breathing was calm, not because he was ready to die, but because he had run out of strength to be afraid. At 5:59 p.m., the phone on the wall rang. Everyone froze. The warden answered. His expression shifted as he listened. When he hung up, his hands were shaking. The clock turned to 6:00 p.m. The execution is stayed, he announced. New evidence has overturned the conviction. Daniel closed his eyes. A single tear escaped, not from joy, but from the shock of survival. Months later, the truth unraveled completely. The real killer was exposed. The victim's business partner, whose limp and ring matched the footage perfectly. Daniel was released with no ceremony, no apology big enough to fill the years he had lost. He stepped into the sunlight as a free man, older, quieter, but unbroken. When asked if he forgave the system that nearly killed him, Daniel simply said justice was late, but it came. That night, he opened his old notebook and wrote one final sentence before closing it forever. The truth he had learned could be buried, but it never stayed silent.